Hello everyone, this is Meletrix Boog 75 keyboard, which was sent over for review, and let's find out if this keyboard is any good. So hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and this is a very exciting review because, to be honest, I've told you in the past few videos that the keyboards being released for the past 3 or 6 months didn't excite me that much, and this thing from Meletrix has just broken that dullness and the lack of excitement that I've been feeling for this beloved hobby of mine. This guy's right here is the Boog 75. Is it Boog or Boog? Let me know which one you prefer. So for now, let's call it the Boog 75. And this is Meletrix take on your magnetic switches or halo effect switches, which caters to a lot of gamers who want to dive into the mechanical keyboard scene. In this review video, I will focus on my experience as a mechanical keyboard enthusiast about the Boog 75. Do take note that I am not a gamer in any way, although I have played Dota, the first version, when I was in college. I have long since laid my hands on gaming, and as for such, I invited several of my friends who are known gamers in my community to give this keyboard a try, and at the end of the video, you will know their opinion whether this keyboard is worth it or not. So for now, let's hear my thoughts on this mechanical keyboard. All of the features of the Boog are listed in the website. I will leave that for you. It is priced as a pre-built keyboard for $219. And that for me is really good. For $219, you're getting a pre-built keyboard that is so good out of the box. Really. Keycaps are good. Surprisingly, I never thought I would say this, but the switches, this is my first time to try magnetic switches out, are really good. They're really smooth. They feel so good. Probably the only thing I'd wish is for a heavier spring. Then again, this is a keyboard for gamers, so the market is gamers. Bear that in mind. Alright, stabilizers are so well tuned. There's no tickling, there's no rattling, and for a pre-built keyboard of this caliber, dare I say this is the best pre-built I have tried since I entered the hobby. The Boog 75 is, in essence, a modified version of one of my favorite keyboards, the Zoom 75. So take that in mind that I do have a bias for the keyboard. The main difference being is number one, alright? Number one, you lack modularity in this keyboard, especially on this upper right corner wherein the Zoom 75 offers badges, knobs, and LCD screen. And it's okay, this is the first iteration, probably they will add that in the next versions of this keyboard. The aesthetics have changed from a more mature, clean looking Zoom 75 to that of a futuristic looking gaming keyboard. And mind you, I dig it so much. It looks really well. And again, it's a gamer keyboard, high-tech, futuristic. I love it. I love every bit of this. The white version, the induction coil version, looks really nice as well if you want a more mature look. I got the shockwave version, which I'm loving thus far. Alright. This keyboard compared to the Zoom 75 is only a wired version, so that's another main difference. And number three is the aluminum plate. And I'll tell this to you now, that aluminum plate is a game changer. It's really a game changer. The Zoom 75 suffers from two problems. Number one, the sound. It's not as strong sounding as I want it to be. Don't get me wrong, it sounds really good. The aluminum plate on this one is amazing. Alright, and number two, the Zoom 75 is too bouncy. So even with all the foams, I rarely put a lowercase foam, but even with a lowercase foam, the Zoom 75 is too bouncy, and this addresses it all. This one, with all the foams in it, is a very stiff keyboard. You wouldn't even think that it has a Zoom 75 signature. But yeah, that's it. Basically, you can get the HE module for $99 if you do have a Zoom 75 already. And that includes the PCB, the plate, and the magnetic switches. And you can transfer it in your Zoom 75. All right. So what's in it with this magnetic switches? Why is it being designed for gamers? In magnetic switches, you can adjust the sensitivity via software of your switches. So you can adjust the activation point for each key from 0.1 millimeter to 4 millimeter with an accuracy of 0.1 millimeter, and that is crazy. All right. And to be honest, I wouldn't be able to use that in my daily usage of mechanical keyboards, but I've tried playing around with that sensitivity for my typing, and I do feel the difference. That is amazing. All right. I never thought that I would like magnetic switches, but Meletrix implemented this keyboard so well that I'm sure they will achieve their goal of penetrating gamers into diving deeper into the custom mechanical keyboard scene. Because I've talked to a lot of gamers, and my friend who I lent this keyboard to have been trying to convince him to get a proper mechanical keyboard for the longest time. And though he loved the experience with the keyboards that I've tried to let him use, his comment was that he was trying to have a hard time adjusting for his gaming preferences. Could this be the answer? We shall find out at the end of the video. Alright, for now, here's the stock sound test of the Boog 75. Mind you, it sounds really nice. My God, that sounds amazing. That sounds amazingly well. Sounds amazingly well. All right. I'm obliged to flash this on the screen from Meletrix. These are the details of the Boog 75. Just pause your screen if you want to read all the details. And there you have it. Now let's go to the part where gamers are waiting for. Is it worth it? It's the Boog 75 enough to convince my gamer friend to dive into a custom keyboard. So I lent the Boog to a friend and he played around with it for 2 or 3 days, and he was really impressed. And he told me that being able to customize those switches really made a difference compared to the other mechanical keyboards that I lent him before. So prior to this, he was using a Timeless 75 with Fecker matches on them. He loved the feel, he loved the sound, but he told me that it wasn't designed for gaming and that he got finger fatigue very fast, very quickly. With the Boog 75, gaming was accurate, it was precise, it was amazing. The keyboard looked really nice, he loved the sound. The only thing that he told me that was bothering him was that the weight, but this was a preference. We're talking about the weight of the switches. These switches are so lightweight on my end as a keyboard enthusiast used to 65-gram spring. I feel that these are probably too light for my fingers, but then he felt that it was still a bit too heavy, so that was his only complaint. So that's a good thing. So a gamer really impressed and really loving it, and I'm sure in the future Meletrix and all the other companies there would follow suit and get more options in terms of switches, typing feel, sound profile. All right, I've told you all the good things about the Boog 75. Now let's go to the bad. For me, there's only one weakness of this keyboard. Surprisingly, I didn't expect this to be a weakness or a downside of this keyboard. Surprisingly, the sound profile is weak without the foams. Now, I don't know why, because traditionally when you remove foams, you tend to get a brighter, clackier, more raw sounding keyboard, especially with an aluminum plate. For the Boog 75, the sound became too weak and too dull, considering that this has a PCB without any flex cuts. So probably I'm attributing it to the switches. It could be the switches that is causing that weakness in the sound profile, which is very easy to address. I'm sure in the future they'll have more switches. So that's it. Does it sound bad? No. With all the foams in it, mind you, this doesn't have any PE foam, okay? It only has a plate foam and a lowercase foam. With those foams in this, sounds amazing. I did add a layer of tape mod, and I'll show you the sound the sound test at the end of the video. And this by far is my favorite configuration, all right? But it's a bit limited on that aspect. If you want to play around more on the side, not be that possible. It becomes too weak for my taste. Alright, so in conclusion, the Boog 75 is an awesome keyboard, guys. If you're a gamer, you think that the magnetic switch feature will help you, then go for it. Go for the Boog 75. It's not a perfect keyboard. I would love to have a more flexible sound profile, because that is what you're looking for in a custom mechanical keyboard. This one has a good sound profile in its base form. Other than that, it becomes too weak for my taste. But it's good because this is the first iteration. This is the first dive of Meletrix into magnetic switches and halo effect keyboard switches. And from this keyboard alone, you would say that it's going to be a bright future ahead. All right, it's going to be a bright future ahead, especially for gamers who want a proper custom mechanical keyboard. All right, so that's it for my review of this amazing keyboard. Thank you, Meletrix, for sending this over. It's been awesome, and I hope you guys learned from this video, and I hope this will help you in your decision making. Few days up to go on the group buy. Head on over to Meletrix or your local vendors to join the group buy if you want to get this keyboard. Till next time, this is Toki Doki. I'll see you in the next video.